Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English with Liam and Olivia.
Yes, welcome. We are so genuinely happy you are here with us today.
This is the podcast where English feels real, warm, and part of your actual everyday life.
No pressure, no heavy lessons, just honest conversations that help you grow in a real and lasting way.
And today we have an episode that is less about language and more about something that holds so many learners back, more than any vocabulary gap ever could.
Yes, today we are talking about waiting, the habit of waiting, the belief that you need to be ready before you begin.
And the honest and slightly uncomfortable truth that this episode is going to share with you.
Is that the waiting itself is the problem, not your English. The waiting.
And today we are going to talk about why, and more importantly, what to do instead.
This one is going to feel important. Let us get into it.
Before we start, a small and genuine request from us to you.
If this podcast is helping your English feel more natural and more confident, please like this episode right now.
And if you have not yet subscribed, please join our community today. A brand new episode is waiting for you every single day.
Every episode you listen to is one more real step forward on your English journey. Do not miss a single one. So, today we are talking about perfectionism in English learning.
Perfectionism, that voice inside that says, not yet, not until you know more, not until you sound better, not until you feel ready.
And that voice sounds so reasonable, so responsible, so like it has your best interests at heart.
But that voice is keeping you stuck. It is keeping you in permanent preparation mode, in a waiting room that never leads anywhere.
Because the thing about perfectionism is that it promises something that does not exist.
There is no perfect English, not for native speakers, not for anyone.
Language is not a destination you arrive at. It's a road you travel on, and the only way to travel it is to actually get on it.
Today, we are going to look at three things. Why perfectionism in English feels so logical but does so much damage.
What you are actually losing every day you wait, and the specific mindset shifts that will help you move forward.
Not by lowering your standards, but by understanding what actually creates growth.
Let us begin.
Let's start with the first thing, understanding why perfectionism in language learning feels so logical, but does so much damage.
Because it does feel logical. That's the tricky thing about it.
If you're going to do something, you want to do it well. You want to represent yourself accurately. You don't want to seem less capable than you are because of language limitations.
That's not vanity, that's self-respect, and it's completely understandable.
But here's where the logic breaks down. The assumption underneath perfectionism is that more preparation will eventually lead to readiness.
That if you just study a little more, practice a little longer, wait a little further, you'll reach a point where speaking feels safe and natural.
But that point does not come from preparation alone. It comes from experience, and experience only comes from doing, not from preparing to do.
Think about riding a bicycle. You can read about balance, you can watch videos about it, you can understand the physics of it completely.
But you won't be able to ride a bicycle until you actually get on one and try, and fall, and try again.
And every fall is not a sign that you are not ready, it's the actual process of becoming ready.
Language learning is the same. You won't reach fluency by preparing for fluency. You'll reach it by speaking imperfectly and continuing anyway.
Think about a real situation. A learner has been studying English for 3 years.
They know a lot. Their passive knowledge is significant.
But they've been waiting to feel confident enough, waiting to know enough words, waiting to be ready. And 3 years have passed, and they still feel the same way they did when they started. Still not ready, still waiting.
But a different learner started at the same time. They knew this, their English was rougher, but they started speaking immediately.
They made mistakes, lots of mistakes. They sometimes said things incorrectly. They sometimes lost their words in the middle of a sentence.
And 3 years later, their English is incomparably better than the learner who waited because they accumulated 3 years of real experience.
Experience that sitting at a desk studying could never replicate.
And the lesson is simple. The discomfort of speaking imperfect English is the price of entry. You cannot avoid it. You can only pay it sooner or later.
And the sooner you pay it, the sooner the other side begins, the side where speaking starts to feel natural, where the words start to come, where you stop feeling like an imposter and start feeling like yourself.
Think about another real situation. Someone gets a job that requires them to use English every day. They're terrified.
Their English is not perfect, they know it. Their colleagues can probably tell, and that awareness is excruciating.
But they keep showing up. They keep using English every single day, despite the imperfection.
And 6 months later, their English has improved more than in the previous 3 years of study combined.
Because immersive regular use under real conditions accelerates growth in a way that nothing else can match.
The job forced them off the waiting room bench and onto the road, and the road is where all the real learning happened.
Or a social situation. Someone moves to a new country where English is the primary language.
They're surrounded by it. They have to use it every day, shopping, asking for directions, making friends, navigating systems.
And their English explodes because necessity and real use and the slight discomfort of doing it imperfectly every day is the most powerful English teacher that exists.
Perfectionism keeps you in the classroom. Real life puts you on the road, and the road is where fluency lives.
Now say it with us. Everyone listening, repeat this out loud.
I do not need to be perfect. I need to be present, and I'm choosing to be present, starting today.
Say it again with full belief. I do not need to be perfect. I need to be present, and I'm choosing to be present, starting today.
That sentence is a commitment to showing up, to trying, to being on the road instead of waiting for the perfect moment to begin.
The perfect moment does not exist. This moment is the moment, and you are already in it.
Now let's talk about the second thing, what you are actually losing every day you wait.
Because perfectionism doesn't just slow down your progress, it has real costs, real things that are not happening while you wait.
The first cost, connections you're not making.
Every day you wait to use your English in real conversations is a day you didn't connect with someone who could have been important to you.
Think about professional networking events where you stayed quiet because your English didn't feel good enough.
The people you could have met, the opportunities that could have opened, the relationships that could have started.
All of them waiting on the other side of a conversation you didn't start because you were waiting to feel ready.
Or social situations where you smiled and nodded instead of contributing because you weren't confident enough to speak.
And you went home feeling invisible, not because you had nothing to offer, but because perfectionism made you choose silence over imperfection.
And that choice, repeated again and again, has a real cost on how connected you feel, on how seen you feel, on how much of your real self the world gets to experience.
The second cost, time. Simply time.
Every year you wait is a year you could have been growing, a year of real experience that cannot be recovered.
Think about the learner who waited 3 years. Those 3 years are gone. They will never get them back.
And the English they could have built through 3 years of regular use simply does not exist because they didn't build it.
Every day of waiting is a day of potential growth that was given back unused.
And this is not meant to create guilt, it's meant to create urgency. Gentle but real urgency.
Because the best time to start was when you first wanted to, and the second best time is right now, today, this moment.
The third cost, your relationship with yourself and your own language.
When you wait because you don't feel good enough, you're sending yourself a message every single day.
The message is that you're not ready, that you're lacking, that something needs to be different before you deserve to participate.
And that message, repeated daily, becomes a belief that English is something that happens to better people than you.
But that belief is wrong. It's constructed by perfectionism, not by reality.
The reality is that you are capable right now, not perfect, but capable, and capable is more than enough to begin.
When you start speaking before you feel ready, you also start sending yourself a different message. I'm doing this. I'm here. I belong in this conversation.
And that message, repeated daily, becomes a new belief, and that new belief is what confidence is actually made of.
Not the absence of fear, not the absence of imperfection, but the accumulation of evidence that you can show up even when things aren't perfect.
And that evidence only builds through action, never through waiting.
Now say it with us. Repeat this out loud.
Every day I speak English, I am building evidence that I belong here, and I do not belong here.
Say it again. Every day I speak English, I am building evidence that I belong here, and I do belong here.
You belong in English conversations. You belong in the language. You belong on the road, not in the waiting room.
And starting today, you're going to act like it. Now let us look at the third thing, the specific mindset shifts that help you move forward.
Because knowing that perfectionism is a problem is not enough. You need something to replace it with.
The first mindset shift, from performance to process.
Perfectionism thinks of every English interaction as a performance, a test, an audition, something to be evaluated and judged.
And when every conversation is a performance, the fear of performing badly becomes paralyzing.
The shift is to think of every English interaction as a process, a step, a practice, something that is part of the journey and not a final exam.
When you are in process mode, a mistake is information, not a failure. It tells you something about where you are and what to work on.
When you're in performance mode, a mistake is evidence of inadequacy, and that is a very heavy thing to carry into every conversation.
Think about a musician. They do not evaluate every rehearsal as if it were a concert. Rehearsal is practice. Concert is performance.
But for language learners, every conversation feels like a concert, when it should mostly feel like rehearsal.
The shift is to start treating most conversations as rehearsal, safe practice, low-stakes process, where the goal is not to impress, but to improve.
And when you treat conversations as rehearsal, you bring curiosity instead of fear, openness instead of dread.
And ironically, when you bring curiosity instead of fear, you often perform much better anyway.
Because the energy of curiosity is open and forward-moving, and the energy of fear is closed and backward.
The second mindset shift, from knowing to growing.
Perfectionism is obsessed with what you know, how much you know, whether what you know is enough.
But fluency is not a fixed state of knowing. It is a living, dynamic process of growing.
Native speakers are growing their language every day. They encounter new words, new contexts, new ways of expressing things.
Language is alive, and living things grow. They do not stay still, waiting until they've grown enough to start growing.
The shift is to measure yourself by how you're growing, rather than by how much you already know.
Am I speaking more comfortably than I was 3 months ago? Am I using a wider range of words than I was 6 months ago? Am I recovering from mistakes faster than I was a year ago?
These are growth questions, and they show real progress that a fixed knowing standard never could.
Think about a child learning their first language. They do not wait until they know enough words to start speaking.
They start with one word, then two, then a sentence, then sentences, then conversations.
And every stage is full of mistakes. Mispronunciations, wrong words, confused structures.
And no one treats those mistakes as failures. They're celebrated as growth, as the child finding their way into language.
You deserve the same compassion that we give to children learning language. You are doing something genuinely difficult, and every step forward is worth celebrating.
The third mindset shift, from waiting for confidence to building it.
This is perhaps the most important shift of all, because the relationship between confidence and action is the opposite of what perfectionism assumes.
Perfectionism assumes confidence comes first. I will feel confident, and then I will speak.
But the real relationship is the other way around. Action comes first, and confidence follows from action.
You don't feel confident and then speak. You speak and then start to feel confident every time you do it.
Think about the first time you drove a car, or the first time you gave a presentation at work, or the first time you cooked something complicated.
You didn't feel confident first, you did it. And the doing, imperfect as it was, built the confidence for the next time.
And then the next time was a little better, and the time after that was a little better again.
That's the confidence-building process. It runs on action, not on preparation, not on waiting, on action.
And every single English conversation you have, no matter how imperfect, is an action, is a brick in the foundation of your confidence.
You're not waiting to build confidence. You're building it right now. Every episode you listen to, every sentence you repeat, every conversation you attempt.
It's accumulating, even when you can't feel it, especially when you can't feel it. It's there. Now let's talk about the common mistakes learners make around perfectionism.
The first mistake, setting a specific standard for when they will start speaking. I will start when I know 500 words, or when I can understand films without subtitles, or when I feel 80% confident.
The problem with these standards is that they keep moving. You reach 500 words and it doesn't feel like enough. You watch films without subtitles and still feel unprepared.
Because the standard was never really about vocabulary or comprehension, it was about managing fear. And fear doesn't go away by meeting a preparation standard.
Fear goes away through action, through repeated exposure to the thing that scares you until it stops being scary.
So drop the standard. There is no standard. There's only the next conversation. And then the one after that.
The second mistake is comparing your imperfect spoken English to other people's polished written or prepared English.
Learners listen to a podcast or watch a video where an English speaker sounds fluent and natural, and they compare that to their own stumbling spoken English.
But that podcast was edited. That speaker has been doing this for years, and they're using their prepared language, not their spontaneous conversational language.
The comparison is completely unfair, and it creates a standard that even native speakers couldn't meet in real spontaneous conversation.
Compare yourself to yourself. How did you sound 6 months ago? How do you sound now? That comparison is honest and it's encouraging.
The third mistake is treating every mistake as evidence that you're not ready, rather than evidence that you're learning.
Mistakes in language are not malfunctions. They are the system working exactly as it should.
Your brain is trying new things, pushing into unfamiliar territory, testing the edges of what it knows.
And mistakes happen at those edges. They're not signs of inadequacy. They're signs of growth, of reaching, of trying something harder than what's already comfortable.
The learners who improve fastest are not the ones who make the fewest mistakes. They're the ones who make the most mistakes and keep going anyway.
Because each mistake is a data point, and data points are how learning happens. One corrected error at a time, one adjusted understanding at a time, one new attempt at a time.
Now let's bring all of this into real daily life situations together.
Imagine someone who has been learning English for 2 years. She's good, she knows a lot, but she's been waiting.
Waiting to join the English conversation at work, waiting to contribute in meetings, waiting until she feels ready.
And one day, she decides to stop waiting. Not because she suddenly feels confident, but because she has listened to this episode and she understands that the confidence she's waiting for is on the other side of the action, not before it.
She goes into the next meeting, her heart is beating fast, and she speaks, imperfectly, with one wrong word, with one slightly confused sentence structure.
And nothing terrible happened. Her colleagues understood her, the meeting moved forward, and she walked out feeling something she hasn't felt in months.
She felt like she was there, really there, not on the outside watching, but inside, contributing, belonging.
And the next meeting was a little easier, and the one after that a little easier again.
Because every meeting was adding a brick to the foundation. Every imperfect contribution was building evidence that she could do this.
3 months later, a new colleague joins the team, and this new person asks her for advice on settling in.
And she says confidently, just speak, even when it doesn't feel ready, especially when it doesn't feel ready. That's the only way forward.
She's passing on the lesson because she lived it, because she stopped waiting and started building.
Now let's try a personal situation.
Someone has been wanting to make friends in their new city, but they've been waiting until their English is better before they try to socialize.
And the months have passed and the loneliness has grown, not because their English isn't good enough, but because they've been in the waiting room.
One day they go to an event, an interest group, people who share a hobby they love.
And they speak, awkwardly at first, simply, with some pauses, with some searching for words.
But they speak, and people respond, and a conversation happens, and by the end of the evening, one person has suggested meeting for coffee next week.
Not because the English was perfect, but because the person showed up and tried and was genuinely themselves through the imperfection.
Because people don't connect with perfect English. They connect with genuine people, and genuine people are imperfect in any language.
The coffee happens, and then another one, and a friendship begins on the other side of the waiting room, on the road where they finally chose to walk. Let's try one more, something deeply personal.
Someone has been wanting to call their grandmother in another country, but the calls are always in English because that's the shared language.
And they've been putting it off, waiting to feel more comfortable, waiting to not struggle quite so much on the phone.
But phone calls in another language are always harder than face-to-face. The cues are missing, the pauses feel longer, the difficulty is real.
And every week they don't call, a week passes, and grandmothers don't wait forever.
One day, they call, and the call is imperfect. There are long pauses, there are moments of searching, there are sentences that come out shorter than intended.
But the grandmother doesn't hear imperfect English. She hears her grandchild. She hears love trying to reach across distance through a second language.
And she is moved, not by perfect sentences, by the effort, by the showing up.
And the grandchild walks away from that call feeling something enormous. They did it, imperfectly and beautifully and completely.
And the next call will be easier, because this one happened, because they stopped waiting.
Say it with us one final time. Everyone listening, say this out loud right now.
I'm done waiting. My English is good enough to start, and starting is how it gets better.
Say it again with full conviction. I'm done waiting. My English is good enough to start, and starting is how it gets better.
That's not wishful thinking. That's the truth, the honest truth about how language works.
You start, and the starting itself makes you better every single time.
Let's bring everything together now. The first thing we explored, perfectionism feels logical, but it is based on a false promise. The readiness you are waiting for does not come from preparation alone.
It comes from doing, and doing always comes before feeling ready.
The second thing, every day you wait has a real cost.
Connections not made, time not used, evidence not built, and a daily message to yourself that you are not enough to begin.
All of those costs are real, and they stop the moment you start.
The third thing, the mindset shifts that move you forward, from performance to process, from knowing to growing, from waiting for confidence to building it through action. And the common mistakes to avoid: do not set a preparation standard. Fear does not dissolve through preparation, it dissolves through action.
Do not compare your imperfect real-time English to polished, prepared English. Compare yourself to yourself 6 months ago versus now.
And do not treat mistakes as evidence of failure. They are evidence of growth, of reaching, of being on the road.
You do not need perfect English to start. You need the courage to begin with what you have, and what you have right now is more than enough.
The fluency you want is not waiting for you to be ready, it is waiting for you to begin.
And the beginning is always imperfect in every language for every person at every level.
And that imperfect beginning is the most important step of all, because it is the first one, and first steps lead to every step that follows.
We believe in you completely, not in a perfect future version of you, in you right now, as you are, with the English you have today.
Start with that English, use it, offer it to the world, and watch what the world gives back.
It will give back connection, growth, confidence, all the things that have been waiting on the other side of the waiting room all along.
If today's episode gave you the permission or the push you needed to stop waiting, please give it a like right now.
And if you are not yet subscribed, please join our family today. A brand new episode is ready for you every single day.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. Every single listen truly means the world to us.
This has been English with Liam and Olivia. Simple English, real conversations, daily practice.
Take care of yourselves. Stop waiting, start speaking. We will see you in the very next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.